Welcome to The Skinny on WMNF Tampa for Friday, February 20th. My name is Ray Roa. I'm the editor-in-chief at Creative Loafing Tampa Bay. Been on the show for roughly 3 years now with my co-host Mitch Perry, who I will do the spoiler now, is in town. He has been covering the session up in Tallahassee for the Florida Phoenix, but he is on his way to the studio right now, and I will give up this chair because I'm very superstitious and we need all the help we can get as we try to be successful today, because if you've been listening to the station for the past few days, you know that it's spring fun drive time. I don't know if like something changed inside of me, but I used to dread this day, and now for the last few weeks, I've just been so excited for right now to ask our listeners to help us reach a pretty ambitious goal. We have to raise $2,000 in 1 hour, less than 1 hour here. We have until 12:01, so that's approximately 52 minutes to raise $2,000 for news and public affairs. Specifically for this show, The Skinny, I'm joined right now in the studio by WMNF's news director, Sean Kinane. Sean Kinane, thank you for being in here again to help us get over the line here.
Yeah, I'm happy to be here, and as you mentioned, it's a different feeling these days. It's so exciting to come on during Fun Drive, I think, and part of that I can attribute to how big our listeners have responded since public media lost federal funding, and in Florida, how we lost state funding. And since then, our listeners have really responded. I think that people like the idea of independent media, as you know, at Creative Loafing, and as we know here at WMNF, people love that idea rather than being beholden to corporations. We are a listener-sponsored station, and people like to become essentially owners of their radio station by making contributions.
That's right. It's almost like the Green Bay Packers of radio. And we do need you to call. So, guys, the phone number for the Spring Drive, 813-238-8001 is the number you can call. 813-238-8001. If you're in your car, pull over, get ready to make the call, or go to WMNF.org, find the Skinny in your drop-down, and make sure you contribute. We have to raise $2,000 today before noon to show Sean Kinane here that our show matters, that public affairs matters, to show the folks making decisions above Sean at WMNF that this block of news and public affairs matters. If this kind of stuff and this kind of content matters to you, please call 813-238-8001. Make a contribution. I do want to say you guys really went hard for Down and Dirty, and there's some donations trickling in for them. Sean, you have one, right?
Yeah, we just got a Down and Dirty donation from Patricia Kemp from Tampa, $50 donation. Thanks, Pat. And she's also sometimes hosts a lot of the shows here on WMNF. So thanks for that donation as well.
Yeah, Pat Kemp, a familiar voice here on the radio and within this WMNF community. So thank you for that. We have another one from Ethel Hammer from Odessa, Florida, pitching in $65 to Down and Dirty today. She's picking up a ceramic planter. There's so many gifts. If you're the kind that wants to see and shop before you commit to a gift, you can go to WMNF.org. The theme this year, many roots, one community. It's pretty awesome. Kind of like sepia pastel, really earthy colors, fun spring lettering. The merch game, Sean, at WMNF over the last year and a half is totally leveled up, and even I gave in today and I donated $45 because I need this mouse pad.
Oh yeah,
I tossed a mouse pad recently and I got one from a coworker, but I want that one, and then I'll hand off the other one that I have right now. There's a recycled Many Roots mouse pad that you can get for $45 or $5 a month if you join. So we need to see, there's this little light that blinks here in all the studios. Studio 2 here, it blinks quite brightly, and I love when it lights up because it means that somebody's calling. That phone number is 813-238-8001. Another donation for Down and Dirty. Ethel Hammer again,
right.
Double dipping for Down and Dirty here. That's $100 contribution. So total out of Odessa, $165. Robert Fitzpatrick is walking in with stuff, and I think it's good. With Sean, what do we got there?
Here's another Down and Dirty donation that John Dingfelder is donating $200, and he's getting a tumbler and a T-shirt. So thanks, John, for contributing to the community radio station where you volunteer. You're also making a financial contribution. We really appreciate that. Thanks, John and Lynn.
Yeah, John and Lynn Dingfelder. John Dingfelder and Lynn just walked out of the studio, raised money for the station as part of their show. they kind of epitomizes what this station is. Everybody's involved in something else. John is a former elected official, involved with politics before and after that, really connected. So when you listen to his show, you can really hear insider stuff. And then you flip it on here at 11, you have Mitch Perry. I would say 20-something years ago, Mitch Perry came here from the other Bay Area to take a job here underneath the legendary and late Rob Leroy, just like you did, Sean Kinane. And Mitch Perry became a staple of MNF and the Tampa Bay community. Mitch had time at Creative Loafing. He was known as a political animal. A lot of legends of him coming in at 4 a.m. Now he's at the Florida Phoenix, which stops at Bay News 9 and Florida Politics along the way. Mitch brings his work right here to this microphone, to our listeners. We're talking to so many people all the time, and we're going to hear some clips from past shows, but we need to hear from you right now. 813-238-8001 is the number. If Mitch Perry, the kind of reporting that we do here, myself, matters to you, the people and the topics that we talk about, if you want to hear from state legislators, from national figures, I think we're the only show that puts on like some of these third and fourth party candidates when the presidential election comes on. I think so, right, Sean?
Yeah, we like hearing from all the parties, all the candidates.
And we have some donations here for the Skinny, including, I'm just going to kick it off here with a match challenge. This person's going to remain anonymous for us. They've donated $100 and we'll match it right now. So if you donate right now, they will match up to $100. So help us turn this $100 into $200. We have a giant goal to hit. It's $2,000. We need to raise that before noon. And the clock is ticking, 11:13:00. Right now. So not that much time for us. 813-238-8001. Go to WMNF.org. You can see all the swag. Tons of great stuff there. The black WMNF logo shirt kind of has a beige lettering this year. Classic. Lots of cool tumblers and a great artist t-shirt there. All this stuff available if you join a circle of friends there. Sean, you have another yellow piece of paper, which we like to see.
Yeah, we did just get another donation for Down and Dirty. Thanks to Victor Rudy DeMaio with a $100 contribution. Came in and volunteered today and made a donation to WMNF. Says, thanks to WMNF for being there for us. And he's getting the WMNF logo t-shirt that Ray was just talking about.
Vic DeMaio, if you're active in politics, you know a guy like Vic DeMaio. Last time I was in front of Vic DeMaio, we were on a different show. And, Vic works in politics, but he's kind of does reporting stuff. He came with this ream of paper from the Hillsborough College presser about the Rays Stadium. So you're always getting information. These are insider people volunteering at this station, just like Skip Sassy on the boards here with us. Something that a lot of people maybe don't recognize, especially if you're new to the WMF community. It is a tiny staff. The people that are on payroll here, I mean, you could probably put them on one hand. I think maybe one hand and a finger and a half or something like that. So it really is like this volunteer powered place. Myself and Mitch Perry just show up every Friday to volunteer. Skip's here volunteering every day. If you call 813-238-8001 right now, you will probably talk to the nicest person you will talk to the entire weekend. These are people who love this station, who love their community, and who love news and public affairs. And they just believe in this project. WMNF is an experiment in a lot of ways. We talk about this a lot around the fund drive, but 40 plus years ago, a bunch of people walked around Tampa with a coffee can, was knocking on people's doors and saying, hey, we're going to start a radio station. What do you want to hear on this radio station? And will you give me some money to do that? And in the day, I mean, we're living in a world where billionaires can shut down entire divisions of newspapers, can cut photo departments. And yet here I am. I love being in Studio 2. I used to love Studio 1 more, but now that I'm in Studio 2, I get to see everybody working. Chris Young is not here next to me today on the other side of the window, but I see Juanita, who's a brand new assistant news director here at WMNF. Pen to paper right now, just full like calendar on her computer, Slack on the other one. I see then a third screen like right in front of her. There are people just working on news all the time. And if you listen to WMNF throughout the day, you hear these voices, you hear our news volunteers, you hear our news interns, you hear our news staffers giving you updates from the community, whether it's a municipal update or a deep report reported story. You are hearing it here, and you're reading it on WMNF.org.
And you're blocked from seeing, but we have an intern working on the skinny right now. Alyssa is here, and so shout out to all of our interns, and of course Juanita and Chris. Thanks so much for recognizing the hard work that goes into the news happening at WMNF every day.
And we don't talk about this much in the news block, but there's always decisions being made at WMNF about how much news should really be played, Sean. And these fund drives are when we say, and when the listeners say, yes, I value news. I love music too. Heck yeah. I love my Tuesday nights. I love stepping outside. I love doing whatever I do when I listen to these Grateful Dead songs, but I also love showing up here, and I love being able to do reporting on this show. So many times I bring people on this show and I'm able to do a story that shows up in Creative Loafing, and this station allows me that. I've been volunteering at the station since I was 8. My first time was like in high school, 16 or something like that.
Can I tell you how cool it is when I see one of your stories that you wrote up based on an interview here on the Skinny, and you've got a photo of the person that you were interviewing, and we've got the WMNF logo in the background. That's so cool to see that in Creative Loafing.
Yeah, that is like I guess for some people, the saddest thing about the multimedia now, when they show up to this studio, back in the day, you're almost guaranteed to never have to look a certain way when you came on the radio because it was just a microphone. But now when you show up in the studio, I'm definitely going to take a picture of you, and it's probably going to end up in Creative Loafing at some point, because here's what's happening. Mitch Perry is here, right? Like, not here yet. He's on. Oh, he literally just walked in. See, sometimes you can just like conjure up. I'm a witch, guys. I'm a witch. I'm a what do you call it? A warlock or whatever. But I was saying, like, Mitch is in Tallahassee all the time just reporting on state stuff, but oftentimes Tampa Bay ends up being the center of Florida, the center of the state, in some ways the center of the country when it comes to newsmaking. That's right. And if you were listening a couple weeks ago, EJ Salcinas absolutely had something to say about Pam Bondi. WMNF is the place that you are going to hear a variety of voices. And let's listen to one of those voices right now. But first, I want to remind you, 813-238-8001. We're going to queue up Charlie Justice, I think. It's our first clip here. Charlie Justice is the CEO for the Tampa Bay Beaches Chamber of Commerce, recently ousted out of his seat on the Pinellas County Commission by Vince Nowicki. We asked Charlie Justice in this excerpt, what's the state of the beaches post-hurricanes Helene and Milton from what was a year later? So 813-238-8001, WMNF.org. We need to raise $2,000 today before noon, and we want to read your name after we come back from this clip.
Well, there's 1,000 stories in the night, right? And so every property is a little bit different. But yesterday was such an incredible day. We cut the ribbon at the Beachcomber, and Jimmy B's is a popular spot. I mean, that is a definite hangout for watching the sunset and having a cold beverage and enjoying that. So many people excited about that. But we cut the ribbon, and we do a lot of ribbon cuttings. We've done a ton of reopenings since the storms. But yesterday was really special. This property is important. That beach bar, it may sound silly, but that beach bar is really important to the locals and to our tourists. But we cut the ribbon, and I turned, and I just saw this huge crowd of the employees that were smiling and happy. And that's, for me, that's what made it all. Is all these employees are back to work, and we've seen that all on the beaches. So it really depends where you're at. The Beachcomber, a great success, but we've still got some properties on St. Pete Beach, major properties that are not back yet, and that impacts everything. And then residential, we haven't got all our residents back, so that impacts. So it's really each beach community is an ecosystem of its own, and lives, on each other's success.
We'll talk about residential areas. I think you just mentioned before we went on the air here about, was it St. Pete Beach? You said how many homes are
on Treasure Island? There's several hundred. St. Pete Beach, similar. Residential demolition permits. So that's a year that house has been, uninhabited. Nobody's living there. No one's going to the corner store to buy gas or food or anything. You throw in the tragedy that we had with the Publix shopping center in Dolphin. These folks have taken it on the chin. But every day we're seeing signs of life, signs of good news. Quarry Avenue on St. Pete Beach is really coming back to life.
The movie theater came
back. The movie theater's back. The restaurants are back. New shops are opening. We've cut, I think, 3 or 4, 5 ribbon cuttings in the last couple months on Quarry Avenue. When the Don Cesar opened up a few months ago, that was symbolic. When the Beachcomber opened yesterday, that's symbolic. The announcement that St. Pete Beach has approved the Quarry Landings development on the east end of Quarry Landings, that's symbolic that construction is happening. People are going to be moving there. Residential, retail, restaurants. But, if you start on the south end and you work your way north, Clearwater Beach, you wouldn't know that there was a storm, and it varies. One, obviously the storm hit a little bit south, so it had more of an impact. Clearwater Beach, a lot of the hotels there are newer. They've built up. They're 2 floors up. They've got parking garages. Clearwater is a big city. It was able to respond faster than some of our smaller beach communities. So I wish it was one thing we could blame it on or attribute the success to, but there's all different stories. And some of our restaurants coming back, the restaurant owner is not necessarily the property owner. And so the restaurant owner is sitting waiting for the property owner to make a decision. That could be someone who lives in Wisconsin. It's an investment property here. And also, you have these personal, just like those of us who've had any impact from the storm in our homes, you don't make that decision in the first day. You may take a week or a month to decide, am I going to rebuild this? Am I going to invest in that? And so we're seeing that every story, every property is a different story.
You mentioned the ribbon cuttings, because I did go through your Facebook page and I saw a lot of those videos that you have of those.
Absolutely, yeah. It's been a lot of fun. I think we did 100 just last fall from the storm until January. And it's, one of the first weeks I was on the job, we cut the ribbon at the Helm on Blind Pass Road in St. Pete Beach. And the restaurant owner, we cut the ribbon. And, these are kind of fun little things. And we post pictures and things. But the restaurant owner had tears in his eyes because he got his people back to work. And he was able to, have customers back in and feed his customers. And that's what he lived for, and it was really important.
I know. Okay, so you mentioned, I think the Postcard Inn, that is not open yet. Is that correct?
No, it's coming back as I'm going to say this wrong, La Luz, and I think that's January opening.
Okay.
It's going to be rebranded.
Yeah, and so right, so this is interesting. You got this new gig. You've been involved in public service and politics, for decades actually, and then getting this job and this particular time. Robin Miller, that was there for a very long time, your predecessor there, always challenges obviously with the tourism and all the different things we'll get into in a moment here about the state of the economy on the beaches. But yeah, these major storms, the biggest ones that have ever happened, certainly in Pinellas, Helene was right.
Absolutely. I think the important thing is for everyone, our residents, our guests, our elected officials, to recognize that this year was a generational year for Pinellas County. It was generational. It wasn't a little storm that we bounced back right away. So, it's frustrating. We're all frustrated. It takes a little time to get everything, and we're building back. We're building back. Nothing's happening as fast as we wanted to. Pinellas County is distributing $800 million, $600 million to residential. And we're sitting here going, all right, they're going to do a portion, I think, 20 or 30 million to small business. And we're like, all right, let's go. And those aren't going to even be released until early of 26. So that's over a year after the storms that these, some of these small businesses really could use a little shot in the arm. So everyone's frustrated. But again, we see these signs of life every day that get us excited and keep us coming back.
That was Charlie Justice from back October 31st. It was Halloween 2025, and we were talking about the horrific impacts of back-to-back hurricanes. Charlie Justice, again, one of these people that Mitch is able to bring on and have really great, thoughtful, in-depth, nuanced conversations, which are essential for news literacy, essential for news audiences like yourself. And we need to hear from you here. 238-8001 is the number for our spring fund drive, WMNF.org. And you may feel a feral energy coming over the microphone and in the studio right now. And it's because Mitch Perry has driven down here from Tallahassee, Florida to take a break from an exciting, enthralling, and infuriating session up there. Mitch, welcome back to the WMNF studio. Welcome home.
Great to be back here in the Tampa Bay area, Ray. And yeah, we won't even get into it. I've been doing the weekly updates.
Oh, he is like chomping at the bit to talk about news right now.
But no, we are here, of course, as everybody knows right now. We are fundraising here on MNF on the Skinny, as you mentioned earlier, Ray. 3 years plus, just about 3 years and about a month, I think. We have been on. Originally, of course, it was you and myself and Ben Montgomery. We lost Ben.
Ben said he's back in town and wants to come back and do some shows.
Well, let's do that then. Let's bring him back. But again, if you appreciate the Skinny, if you appreciate WMNF 88.5 community radio on this airwave since the late 1970s, I've been here for now over half of that, 26 years off and on at the station. So great to be back here and want to hear from you. And we're getting some calls in here, and that's great because the whole list.
We have a big goal, 2,000.
Yeah, okay. So
we're on our way. We have some people to thank.
813-238-8001 is the telephone number. We've got people standing by right now to take your information. Whatever you want to contribute, we certainly appreciate. We've got some great gifts or premiums, as we call them here during the fundraising drive. And I know we're calling it the spring drive. It's dead of winter although it doesn't feel like that today. Yeah, right. We're going to get cold weather, coming back again. Man, it's been cold in Tallahassee, but I guess it's been like that down here as well.
Oh, it was cold, although all my plants did survive. And then that goes back into our theme for the Spring Fun Drive. Many roots, one community. This is the craziest plant. If we looked underneath the ground at what feeds and makes WMNF work, you would see this crazy network of roots and connections to all these different corners of the community. I think that's my favorite thing about the radio. We talk into the mic. We really can't see all these people out there, but we hear from you now, and that's when we do it, and at our events and things like that. And that's a gift you can actually get. You can get an event pass for all of it's called the Event Passport. So you get 10 tickets to any available WMNF music event. You have 12 months to use it. That's $1,000 if you want to do it in one shot. You can also pay $84 a month to join Circle of Friends. A lot of people have done that. I think we should thank some of these people because we have some yellow slips here. Mitch, you want to get us started here?
Yeah, this is exciting. Terrence Smith from Tampa, $100 contribution, getting the Many Roots T-shirt there, Ray, as you've been talking about the roots here of the station. Also, let's see, Doreen Donovan from North Carolina, Siler City, actually, a $60 contribution. She says, I moved away from Tampa, but tune in and enjoy my drive time when I return and listen via the internet and love how it enriches my life every time, even after 35 years of listening. Keep up the good work. God, that's great, Doreen. Thank you so much for that contribution.
Yeah, thank you so much. And you can be just like them. 813-238-8001. That's 8001. WMNF.org. I want to thank Timothy Wishland. Timothy, I hope I got your name correct. From Valrico, pitching in $108 here. Says loves WMNF, likes the local programming, picking up one of these Many Roots T-shirts, designed, by the way, by a homegrown artist, Robin Milokowitz, who is also a volunteer at WMNF. If you come to WMNF as a guest or maybe a visitor, Robin will greet you at the front door. That is just how deep this goes. People here are just so connected to the station. I want to thank somebody here too that's deeply connected to the station and to me over this last 3 years. One Steven Skip Sassy. Oh, this is like we're like legal name status here. Skip's ran the boards for the Skinny for as long as I've been here, and he's just been a great person for me to see every Friday morning. I see him when I walk in early. He's running the board for the other shows. I've gotten to know his wife Linda. So Skip and Linda Sassy are pitching in $214 here to keep the conversation about our political system alive, and they're picking up a Many Roots Women T-shirt. Skip, thank you so much, not just for this contribution and what it means and what it symbolizes, but also just showing up every day. You epitomize what makes this station work. This station truly is people power. This is a retired person who could be doing anything else with his time, and he's got his fingers on this beautiful Whetstone board here, and making sure that we have radio, that we have company when we're driving around, when we're alone. I always go back to the hurricanes. I evacuated to Ocala, and I remember listening to WMNF via the app just to know what was going on in my neighborhood. And I heard a voice of somebody holed up in this station because you couldn't come in and out, remember? Right. And they were updating us. And that's what WMNF is. But it doesn't happen on accident. It takes money to make that happen. And we only have 30 minutes left to raise a substantial amount of money. We have a $2,000 goal. The phone is not ringing. We need it to ring at 813-238-8001.
And if you're shy, you can do it on the internet. Of
That's
course,
right, WMNF.org. Pull your car over or sneak into the bathroom, take a cigarette break, whatever you got to do, and make this donation. I want to thank Frank Giannetti from St. Petersburg, Florida, pitching in $108, also getting a T-shirt. This one, the WMNF women's logo shirt. And by the way, I want to say there is a special perk that just came in. Bob Whitmore, he's an illustrator. His cartoons do run on WMNF.org. They also run in print in Creative Loafing, Tampa Bay. Every Monday, I get a rough sketch for a political cartoon, and I hold my breath to make sure that I'm not going to get so in trouble for it. Right. And then Bob fills it in with color, and we print it. But Bob says that if you join Circle of Friends during this show and you send a photo or make a note, I'll follow up after this and see who joined. He will draw a cartoon of you in the style of this awesome T-shirt that is available. So Bob illustrated this artist T-shirt. It's like a circle, and it's got all these faces on it, and it's a bunch of the programmers. Got to be like 50 at least on there. It's really cool, and that's available for $10 a month. So Bob will draw your face, or any face you want. I bet you Bob will draw. You can draw a face of your dog or something like that too. So, but you got to join Circle of Friends.
And also, hey, I want to bring out, we've got some old books around here that we, over the years have offered as premiums here for News and Public Affairs. And, the late Bill Moyers, Bill Moyers, a giant in public broadcasting, passed away last summer, I believe it was. We have copies of his 2004 memoir, Moyers on America, A Journalist in His Times. And I think this is so worthy right now. This would be, you can get this for a $60 contribution right now. If you call in, we've got plenty of copies of this, and we gave this out back after the book came out years ago, and we've had a few copies around. As I see here, that we have a list of some of our older gifts that are still very applicable and could really be beneficial in learning about, in this case, the great Bill Moyers. Thinking about him, thinking about Jesse Jackson passing away earlier this week, and just so much of the reporting that we got back in the 80s, and all that. Bill Moyers, a giant. $60 contribution, you get his memoir. And now you mentioned this Circle of Friends, Ray.
Yes.
And so Bob Whitmore, again, if somebody contributes to that, right, he'll draw up yourself.
Oh yeah, like I literally see Bob's cartoons every week, like 2 or 3 times, because they go through a proofing and then they go in and then we do it again. So Bob Whitmore will draw you, but you have to join Circle of Friends. You can join Circle of Friends at $5 a month. I remember in my younger days, I definitely joined at $5 a month. I rocked a Circle of Friends magnet on this old Jeep that my parents bought me, and I was so proud of that. And it's kind of cool, like, when you're walking around, and they say if you get a certain kind of car, you start to notice that car. You start to notice all the WMNF bumper stickers and stuff once you kind of like check in and join the tribe here. And I want to say someone else who's pitching in today. By the way, if you do want to pitch in, 813-238-8001, WMNF.org. Suzanne House from Tampa, Florida, pitching in $27.10. Says, I really appreciate Mitch's precise coverage of Tallahassee. That is true, Mitch. We definitely appreciate that there. Some would argue, and then maybe we talk about this. We don't really talk about it with you, Sean, because I don't think it's an issue, but why is Mitch talking about Tallahassee? We should be talking locally, but everything that happens in Tallahassee affects us here. Don't get us started on preemption.
Right. Exactly.
And stuff like that. So, like, that reporting is so special, and to have that thread that connects us to the state capitol, by us, I mean us here at WMNF, the Florida Phoenix, the Tampa Bay community, Creative Loafing, that gets to run Mitch's stories, because Florida Phoenix is part of a state's newsroom model that shares news with non-paywalled outlets. It is really special. So I do also appreciate Mitch's Tallahassee coverage, just like Suzanne.
Yeah, absolutely. And what are the gifts we have here? We got Tropical Heat Wave, the annual concert, which of course brought back last year, coming back actually late April. Usually it's always in the early part of May, but we're going to do it in late April this year. And for a $180 contribution, you get a pair of tickets to that show in Ybor City. Always a great time. So think about that for a $180 contribution. Also, we've got these 14-ounce tumblers that are available for a $75 contribution. And yeah, that's kind of the cooler new gifts we have here. But again, if you're just a fan of WMNF, whether in the last year or you've been listening for years or decades, we would really like to hear from you right now. This show, we're appreciative. We get the opportunity to do it every week, every Friday morning, 11 to noon here. And again, local media. And yeah, I absolutely, I will say that what's going on in Tallahassee absolutely affects what's happening. Believe me, some of the environmental stuff, which I haven't really talked a lot about on the shows, on the weekly reports, we will talk about coming up, because a lot of that's happening. And yeah, let's not even start about the preemption, other than the fact that laws that are being done there are taking away some of the things which happen down here in so many different levels, including, I can't even start now because there's so many different things I got in my head about that. 813-238-8001. Again, you go to the website, WMNF.org. We are looking to raise $2,000 here. And
got a long way to go.
Yeah, we do have a long way to go. We do have 25 minutes here. So if you want to hear some more programming, we'll go to that in a moment here.
I want to thank a couple people here.
Please
Mitch, Safety Harbor is checking in. James Moran from Safety Harbor, thank you so much. Joining Circle of Friends. So, James, I guess we'll have to follow up with you and get a photo of you so Bob Whitmore can illustrate you. Pitching in $60 there from Safety Harbor. Thank you so much. Clifford Bibb from Odessa, Florida, joining for $50. $50 pledge here from Odessa. Thank you so much, Clifford. And Bob Whitmore, not only is he pitching in a T-shirt design to the Spring Fund Drive, he's going to illustrate anybody that joins Circle of Friends on this show, but he's pitched in $100 of his own hard-earned money. And I'll tell you, he's not making a lot at Creative Loafing. So he's doing it for the love of the game and because he's a gangster. But yeah, Bob Whitmore, thank you so much for pitching in $100. It takes all of us here. I'm out of sheets here. So I need to read some more names. The phone hasn't been lighting up. So 813-238-8001, WMNF.org. If you believe in public affairs programming, if you believe in independent news, if you believe that a news organization should make its decisions for itself, the decisions should not come from someplace outside of this building. In so many ways, this building is a fortress and it's our base and a place that we make our own decisions.
And, Ray, I look forward to after the session ends and we get more into local politics. We've got big mayoral elections, both Tampa and St. Petersburg within the next year. Actually, I guess Tampa is 13 months away from now. St. Pete, of course, will be this fall, and city council elections all around that as well. So you'll get plenty of that in terms of election coverage.
Yeah, hoping to have a bunch of mayoral candidates on the show next week.
Oh, is that right?
Yes.
Okay, outstanding. Okay, another contribution here. Mitch Becker from Dunedin, $50 contribution. He's been listening since 1982 and listening to all of our programs. Thank you so much for that contribution, Mitch. And again, you can make that contribution right now. He did it, I believe, on he just called in, actually. Okay, bumper. He's getting the bumper sticker, okay? $35. We have a lot of great gifts at $35 range. So, hopefully it won't break your bank account and the like. We know it's a crisis with affordability right now in Florida. We don't want to go too far out in terms of what your budget is. But, it's nice. We hopefully, I know we've got, again, Chris Young here, of course, doing great reporting here for WMNF. We've got Juanita now, the new assistant news director here. So MNF is investing more in news coverage, paying people actually. And it's what's been said before, but let's repeat it. This station, some people used to criticize over the years, you're getting money from the federal government to have you. You should be trying it out on your own. Well, that's what's happening right now, folks. There is no more money coming from the federal government, no more money coming from the state government. Interesting last year, but when Governor Ron DeSantis introduced his budget at the early part before the session began last year, he included money for public funding. But after the DOGE efforts began up in Washington with Elon Musk, and they realized, hey, I've got to cut things. I got to find $1 billion in cuts. Oh, public radio, public TV, yeah, easy to do. And so they did that. So we're no longer.
Yeah, it's easy for them to cut this money, and that's where our listeners step up.
Yeah,
right.
They have consistently.
They make a hard decision to devote a hard-earned portion of their salary, this budget that they have to slice up for their household every day, and say radio is important to me. Mitch Becker is pitching in from Dunedin, Florida, $50.
I did mention that.
Oh, you did?
But we'll mention it again.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you, Mitch.
Thank you,
can't
Mitch.
thank Mitch's enough, actually.
Yeah. We're so grateful for Mitch's. We love these Mitches. And clip number 4, I think we should queue up because we want to talk about journalism, right? When this show was pitched to us by one Randy Zimmerman, she said, "Can I get journalists on the radio to talk about their news stories?" And we're like, "Yeah, let's do it." But sometimes, journalism bumps. We always talk about the First Amendment in theory, right? And then sometimes in practice, it doesn't live up to its, the ideals, right? And we had a gentleman, Dave Decker. He's a photojournalist here in the area, been traveling back and forth to Minneapolis. He was in Chicago, well known for his work in Creative Loafing. Tampa Bay has a studio in Ybor City at the Crest Contemporary. He joined us in January. We spoke with him along with Tim Kenya from Bay News 9.
Right. Yeah.
But Dave had just been arrested last November while covering a protest down in Miami, the Chrome facility down there. And we asked Dave about that. So this is clip number 4 here, Skip. And let's hear from Dave. But before that, I need you to start calling the phone because we only have 20 minutes to raise a lot of money here. It looks like we still have just north of $1,000, Sean.
Yeah, so far we've raised about $927 and we still need $1,072.
Yeah, so we need a hero. We need like 5 $200 contributions, maybe a $1,000 contribution. Then everybody else pitch in what you can while you can right now. 813-238-8001, WMNF.org. Let's hear from Dave Decker talking about his arrest down in Miami while he was taking photos for a news organization.
I never thought I was going to get arrested. Never. If I thought I was going to be arrested, I would have left. I just did not think that. I've never... Look, I've been in a lot of situations like this over the past 6 years, documenting, culture and I guess for lack of a better word, like social justice issues, things like that. And there's a space that we exist in. And we're trying to basically just visual journalism is like print journalism and web-based. I mean, we're trying to produce images that tell the truth, and if there's a reporter there, those images will fall into their reporting because they're trying to do the same thing. So when I do wire work, it's like you're just shooting for a reporter who could be anywhere doing research. So that's what I was doing, and in that capacity, I never felt threatened or never felt like I'd be arrested. But what did happen was I was backtracking because I was shooting video and stills. And we get down, they did a demonstration of civil disobedience, which is like, I think we all know what that is. It's basically where MLK style, where you sit down, you make yourself arrestable, and everything's kind of figured out. That's what was happening, and I was just documenting it, just like I always do. And I do want to clarify. I had press IDs clearly visible.
Yeah.
So I'm a member of the National Press Photographers Association. If you're involved in visual journalism, from video to even documentary to still photography, I feel like you should definitely be a member.
Did you get a warning that you were going to get arrested?
Law enforcement never even looked at me. They never talked to me. They never pointed to me. They didn't acknowledge me, which I'm kind of used to. That's kind of like when we're in the field. They're generally, they can see that, usually they see press. I mean, always, they see us and then they let us work.
Tim, have you ever had a situation like that? I mean, I don't think you've been arrested ever before, but do you ever thought you might be?
Oh, yeah, there's a bunch of times back when the Antifa, like after Trump got first elected, and there's, big scrum of people, and obviously, you're the camera guy, still photography, you want to get right in the mix of it. You want to be really close, you want the action, you want to find the loudest person and get the kind of the money shot. And, it's a precarious situation. A lot of times you're like, well, I'm out here in the public and I'll risk it because I want to show people hey, this is really what's going on. And it seems over the years that our space of freedom is shrinking, and it's like, well, I don't really want to stay on the sidewalk and zoom in, but I will. But I think it's worth getting arrested to claim that little spot in the street for ourselves for the First Amendment. But no, I haven't been arrested at this point, but that is definitely a possibility, and it seems like they really, clamping down on how close you can really get to this scene, which is discouraging. Usually I'm. In the 90s, you could stand right next to a firefighter where he's hosing a house down. Now you're 2 blocks away behind 2 rows of police tape. So anyway,
it's like a massive gaggle. You know what I mean? It's just
and the cops usually used to honor that. You've got the press badges on. I've got a big camera. I'm they'll give us leeway. We're not instigating this stuff, but we're there to capture it. It used to be they would honor that. So. Yeah. Which I miss,
Right. Dave Decker, you started a GoFundMe campaign, which according to a November Tampa Bay Times story, you had raised at that point over $21,000 to cover your legal costs, recover your car, replace maybe some damaged equipment. Are you pursuing any legal action regarding this?
So under I have some injuries. I just went to a doctor at Tampa General Hospital, and they scheduled me for what's called a nerve conduction study. I'm diagnosed with what's called polyneuropathy because I was cuffed with my hands behind my back for about 5 hours, and in that time, they have you in flex cuffs, which are difficult to experience. It's hard. I'm trying to figure the right words to explain what this is like.
Almost like zip ties.
Yeah, they're like zip ties. Yeah, flex cuffs, zip ties. And when your hands are behind your back for that long and you're sitting on your hands, your hands just go to sleep, and it hurts, and you can only sit in so many positions.
Yeah, so that was the voice of Dave Decker there describing a November arrest that he went to. Dave Decker, a Tampa-based photojournalist, has shot all over the place. Recently, he's been on the cover of the Wall Street Journal, Financial Times, all over the place, describing this arrest down in Miami. I received a phone call, and it was that Saturday, told that Dave was arrested, and we had to kind of find him in the system. Thankfully, there were some lawyers ready to help us. And, Dave told me that he wasn't interested in doing any kind of plea deal. Because he wanted to make sure that he fought those charges because he was wrongfully arrested. And that's the kind of stuff that we talk about here. Sometimes we talk about the First Amendment in theory, and then there's people that experience it and test its limits in practice. And Dave is one of those people. Dave's photographs for Creative Loafing, by the way, are available for this station to use for free because WMNF News is part of this Tampa Bay journalism project that Creative Loafing has started. It's a news co-op where we share news together, and we're wondering if that kind of stuff matters to our listeners today. Right. We're in Spring Fund Drive mode, 813-238-8001. We still got to raise about $1,000 here in the next 13 minutes or so. I want to thank John Dingfelder, Down and Dirty host, pitching in $27.10, says, proud of my favorite middle school student, Ray. So John Dingfelder was Mr. Dingfelder to me at Booker T. Washington. He was a science teacher. I distinctly remember a lot of conversations in seventh grade, him standing at my desk. He's a very tall man. And I remember him, talking to me like a human, and just like, I just felt like a person, and I think that means everything. And I think when we come on the air here, we do try to engage with our community in the same way because we're all living here together. We work here. Mitch and I live here. Mitch lives in Tallahassee for 2 months out of the year, but we live here. We walk out of the door and we eat at the same places that you do, and we experience the same traffic in your car. Some of you guys are in your car. If you're in your car, I want you to pull over and call 813-238-8001 because we do need to raise a lot of money here, Mitch.
Yeah, speaking of traffic, God, I was caught in a nightmare on I-4 last night coming from Orlando back here. So if you are on the roads right now, hopefully it's a smooth drive right now. And yeah, don't call us right now unless you got the hands-free device. Then it, of course, safe to do it otherwise. And by the way, that bill is really not moving this year. We highlighted that.
That's right.
Yeah, so again, Florida is going to be one of only, I believe, 16 states who does not have a hands-free driving law. Anyway,
the free state of Florida just continues.
I want to thank my good friend Melissa Gould, from Plant City. She's contributing $200. Actually, she's going to get the, what I just mentioned, the heat wave tickets, which
nice.
You can get for $180 contribution right now. Give us a call, 813-238-8001. She wants to thank you and myself for keeping us informed every week locally and statewide, Ray. So thank you so much for Melissa. And she's much more than just a friend, I should say that. Okay, moving on now. So, again, we've got...
we have passed. You mentioned tropical heat wave. I mean, for anybody, let's say you're new to town and you don't know the legends of tropical heat wave. Flea is in the studio next door, or he was, but I remember as a younger person going to heat wave and seeing this guy walking around with this ripped t-shirt, and it was Flea. Flea was out there doing evangelizing and just being himself at WMNF. It's this amazing festival in Ybor City, and it is hot. It's in the summer. I think it's going to be a little bit cooler.
Well, yeah, late April, late spring, so maybe not so intense.
But it used to be like super hot.
Oh my God!
I mean, some crazy shows.
Inside, or then again outside with the humidity. But yeah, legendary performances at Heat Wave, and a great chance to meet people. Right. I always love it because when I go, and of course it didn't happen for several years, but you go back, and again, if you've been around a little bit, you can see some old friends.
You meet our listeners,
yeah,
and you can get a pair of passes to Heat Wave. GA passes, $180. Go Spring for the Oasis pass, basically the VIP. You can sit down, lounge, watch the performance,
and it has a diversity of acts too.
100%,
so many different,
super eclectic.
Yeah, really. Whatever genre turns you on, you're going to find something there. So really do recommend it for people. I believe it's the last weekend in April, Saturday night in April, down there in Ybor City. So again, one of the many great gifts we have to offer you at 813-238-8001.
The phone hasn't rang in a long time, and we really need it to ring.
Yes, again, I'm Mitch Perry with Ray Roa. We are the co-hosts of The Skinny here on WMNF 88.5. We've been doing this show for 3 years. I've been on and off at MNF for 26 years now, coming up on that. Came here in April 2000. No longer a staffer, but very much a volunteer, and definitely and sometimes it's not easy with my regular job efforts. I'm so grateful that the Florida Phoenix allows me to come here, and I know the same thing with you, Ray, with
Same.
CL. We're both super busy with our gigs.
And we do our best to turn what we do here into something for the
Well, that's
publications
what
that we
Rainy
work
Z
for.
wanted. You know, Rainy Z, again, the idea being we are reporters. Let's talk about our reporting, you know, and have some fresh content for people, and not rehash things. And I hope we do that. And I look forward to really coming back when we do this. When I'm back here in a couple of weeks, only a few more weeks left, although it may go in overtime again. We'll see about that.
I want to thank Brian Greathouse, by the way, from Temple Terrace, Florida, pitching in $100 to the Skinny here, picking up a WMNF logo T-shirt. You can also get a logo T-shirt just for $8 a month if you join the Circle of Friends. And as a bonus, if you commit to that $8 a month or any Circle of Friends membership, political cartoonist Bob Whitmore will draw your face, or pretty much probably the face of anything. I'm sure Bob will do, and he'll draw you and send you the file. Bob obviously is a political cartoonist. He's also donated artwork for an artist T-shirt, Circle of Friends shirt. It's a Rooted in Community shirt. It's got illustrations of many of the programmers. Gosh, looks like 50, 60 programmers. And there's a great 11 by 14 signed artist print as well. That's available for $5 a month or $55. The T-shirt is $10 a month. Join Circle of Friends and do that. Get your hands on that. Tell the station that shows like this and news and public affairs in general matters. If you care about independent news, you need to call the phone, 813-238-8001, WMNF.org.
Yeah, we have not had a call for a few minutes here, as I'm seeing the lines are not lit, as it were. So, again, we'd love to see somebody, visually, somebody call in right now. Again, I was looking at some of the old books we have. I mentioned this Bill Moyers memoir from 2004, Moyers in America. You can get that for a $60 contribution. A lot of other older books, too. We've got actually Paul Wilborn, of course, who works, of course, the former AP
Palladium?
reporter. Yes, at the Palladium in St. Petersburg. Paul wrote a book, I don't know how long ago this was, Cigar City, Tales from a 1980s Creative Ghetto. We've got 2 copies of that still around here. What you can get that for a $40 contribution. That sounds really interesting, actually. That was obviously before I was here. I got here in 2000 in terms of just dealing with the whole, Ybor City. We had that tragedy last year, the car accident.
Oh, yeah.
There was a discussion again about closing the street down.
Correct.
Which when I came here in 2000, that was the situation, actually. And it's just really interesting how things change or don't change so much in Ybor City.
And of course, Ybor City, perhaps, I feel like we write a end of Ybor City, quote unquote,
Right.
story every
And
few
the
years.
CL.
But it really is poised to change in a big way with a lot of development
Right. Daryl
going
Shaw.
on down there. Clubs like Crowbar moving out of there.
Oh, is that right?
A lot of things kind of changing in Ybor City right now. So a book like Paul Wilborn's really is a look into the past from somebody who lived it. And Paul's a community member. Paul, donated that book to us. Everybody around here is doing a little bit to keep the lights on at the station, to keep this 40 plus years experiment going. WMNF is a special place. One of the first places I volunteered in high school, in the music library there with Flea and Michael Bagley. And now here I am. I had a music show at one point after Saturday. Asylum went off the air on Saturdays, and now volunteering for the public affairs department, trying to do some reporting on the air every day. But it doesn't happen if we don't get contributions. So 813-238-8001 is the number. We really need you to call that number. Pick up some swag. Great stuff here from the artist T-shirt by Robin, Bob's artist T-shirt. There's a garden flag with the people stick these flags in their garden with the flag hanging down. It says many roots, one community. That one's really cool. I think you picked that up for $75.
$75. Interesting. A flag. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, ceramic planters in there. So go to WMNF.org. Take a look at these prizes and incentives and gifts and swag. Pick some up. Be proud of it. Experience the exhilaration of somebody asking you what WMNF is and you converting a person. That's one of my favorite experiences, I think, in town. Meeting somebody who's never heard of WMNF, explaining it to them, and then maybe seeing them again and be like, dude, I'm like locked into 88.5
Yeah, and it's
on
always
my radio
fascinating
now.
because I know when I was a staffer here years ago, decades ago, and we'd always, wonder, like, a lot of people don't know WMNF. And these days, a lot of people don't listen to radio, frankly, or if they do, they listen to maybe satellite or, Pandora or what have you.
At home, I asked my smart speaker to play WMNF, and that's how I listen to it at home.
So, it's a different changing media environment, but this has been consistent. And it's been consistent because we used to say it was 70% of our contributions come from the community. Now
Even
it's
more
100%. Yeah, I mean, I don't know if there's any underwriting anymore that the station gets, but basically it is all dollar contributions from the public. And again, sometimes it's not even people who live around here. They want to stay connected to Tampa Bay, and it's a great way to do that as we try to, definitely try to, but absolutely do bring the community to you, whether it's music or, of course, news and information, which is crucial more than ever in 2026.
And we have some more people to thank. We have like 5 minutes left. That's it. We need help. So James Harper from Tampa, I want to say thank you for a $150 contribution here. Wants to support the Skinny. Thank you so much, James, for supporting us. I can't tell you how much I look forward to this day. I used to dread Fun Drive Day, but now I love it because I get to hear from all these people who tell us that what we're doing matters. Keeps you going, Mitch.
Well, it's fun. When I was a staffer, it was a little struggle when you have to do 5 hours for 5 hours a day. That's tough. Okay, but we're just 1 hour, 3 times a year. I mean, it's actually fun.
And Rick from Sarasota says a big hearty hi with an exclamation point. Rick Dutton, thank you so much. $100 pitching in here. Not even asking for a gift. Just wants to throw some money at the station.
Rick.
That's what it takes here. So we need to hear from you. 813-238-8001. 3 minutes left.
I got to believe we're getting close. I don't know. Maybe not.
Are we getting close, Sean?
I'm going to go with about 300 or 350.
Okay, 300, 350.
Wow.
We'll hit our goal. We've
That
hit our
is
goal the last
vile.
like 2 or 3 times.
Yes.
We'd love to do it again. That way this day is not as nerve-wracking. So we need some $100 contributions. $100. You can get some really, really cool stuff. There's actually this whole pack. It's $266, $20 a month. It's a WMNF spring pack. You get the artist t-shirt.
Okay.
You get a ceramic planter, the 14-ounce tumbler, and the mouse pad. That's $20 a month if you can swing it. I know we talk a lot about matcha teas and avocado toast that you spend your money on. I don't want you to stop eating those, but I do want you to find another $20 to pitch in for your station because we need you. And if we're gonna have humans in here keeping this thing going, we need to hear from you.
Yeah, I mean, no AI yet that I know of going on at WMNF, but it's early yet in terms of that cultivation. But right now, this is grassroots community radio. Again, so many folks along the way, and it's growing. And there have been different times when people have really worried about maybe the viability of the station. I don't know. I think with Randy Z in control here, as station manager, things are really going well here. It always can get better, always can improve. We want to hear from you, and I hope we do more as our continuing shows go on from our listeners. If we're hitting the mark there in terms of what you want to listen to, in terms of focusing on the state and local issues.
That's right. It's 11:57 plus 10 seconds. That means we probably got about a minute and a half to find $300 here. Joellen Schilke is pitching in $30. Proud to follow the Skinny every week.
Oh, that's
I'm
cool.
proud to know Joellen. She does Art in Your Ear after us. I think there's a special relationship between programmers who come before and after each other because we get in our vehicles and we hear each other's voices on the way home. And Joellen Schilke is the voice that I hear on the way back to my office.
And Joellen is definitely, old school.
The Globe, St. Petersburg people.
When I moved here in 2000, she and Flea were like some of my earliest friends here and helped me as I was a brand new guy from San Francisco, didn't know a soul in town here. And here we are, like 26
That's
years
the
later.
epitome of the WMNF effect. When you join the WMNF family, that's what happens. When you come to these events, you can pick up passes at the Tropical Heatwave. That's just $180. If you pick up a pair of Oasis passes, that's $500. That gets Mitch and I, the Skinny, our block of public affairs over the hump here because Joellen Schilke is coming up in Studio One and she's going to have to raise money for her show to hear from folks who love the arts and who want to hear about it on the radio. So we need to hear from you. 813-238-8001. WMNF.org is the website. Please come. Sean's walking in another one here. Sean, is this the one? Is this the one going to put us over?
What's it going?
$55 here from Matthew Carpe. Thank you so much, Matt. Really cool to hear from Matt. And he's picking up the artist print. That artist print's really cool. 11 by 14. Bob Whitmore illustrated it. That's that South Tampa connection. Bob Whitmore, the South Tampa gangster cartoonist, just pulling in all that stuff here. So Mitch got about 90 seconds, I think.
Yeah, again, just want to thank everybody who's called in so far or contributed and continue to do so if you don't make it in the next minute with our show. Of course, we mentioned Joellen Schilke is coming in with Art in Your Ear. And again, we're doing this, the station's doing this in the next few days. But we'll be back to regular programming next week. So again, something we have to do 3 times a year. That's it, folks. And you get all this, hopefully, really entertaining programming.
That's right. Next week, Mitch, you're going to be back up in Tallahassee. I'm going to be sitting in that chair that you're sitting in there. I'm hoping to bring in as many mayoral candidates as we can for Tampa Mayor. It's super early.
It is.
We reported on Bob Buckhorn's PAC yesterday at Creative Loafing, but even he hasn't signed up. So I'm just trying to bring in people who've actually registered with the Supervisor of Elections. We're going to do that next week. But for the next 60 seconds, I'm going to ask you to call 813-238-8001 and please find a donation for this station. Please find a donation for independent news in the Bay Area. Please find a donation for 40 plus years of independent media. This experiment that WMNF is, it is one of a kind. Not many places like this left in the country.
Yeah, now we're 47th year, I guess, or about to be the 46th, 47th year of the station staying around. And it is, again, from the folks out there, the listeners, really appreciate it all the way. Again, we've got that, what's artist t-shirt? One more shout out to that artist t-shirt, $100.
That's right.
It is the newest one. If you've got other WNO t-shirts, here's the latest edition here. But again, want to thank everybody here, Ray. I'm glad I can make it in here in time.
Oh, man, we're so glad that Mitch Perry is here on WMNF Tampa in studio, in the WMNF Tampa studios here. Thank you for coming down for the fund drive, Mitch. It means a lot. Thank you so much to everybody that's pitched in for the show, before the show, pre-pledged, after the show, anybody that calls in. This show is possible because of listeners, because they believe in this station, and because they pick up the phone. It's 813-238-8001, WMNF.org. On behalf of myself, Ray Roa, editor-in-chief at Creative Loafing Tampa Bay, Mitch Perry, senior reporter at the Florida Phoenix, all of our phone answerers, thank you so much back there. Thank you to all the restaurants feeding them back there. Thank you to every volunteer and caller. Skip Sassy's on the boards for us today. Joellen Schilke is next here after 5 minutes of NPR News. She's got art in your ear, and she's going to need your support too. 813-238-8001. Call